During the process of constructing a film opening, I've learned a lot about the technology that was needed to be required to construct this media product. There was a lot of which I used, and which a lot of softwares I used. So I used Photoshop, iMovie, the iMovie video editing software, and Photoshop, an image editing software. Both of these I used to produce the best. Most of these were used during the research and planning stage, as I did not play a part in editing, as I was the actor of the movie. But I feel that I have learnt a lot during the process of making. I've improved a lot of skills in terms of. I've also learnt about cinematography. I've improved a lot of skills in terms of video editing. I've also improved my skills in Photoshop, and also I've improved my cinematography skills throughout constructing the process of making a film opening. So our filming process was very difficult in many different aspects, in terms of acting, editing, cinematography, sound, making a sound. All this was very difficult, which needed to be done anyways. We all had skills in each apartment: acting, making sound, editing, cinematography, writing a script, creating a storyboard. All of our members had individual talents, and all of these individual talents were needed to construct this product. And I believe we all played a big role in our own individual ways. And I believe that our group is very proud of the roles that we have played within constructing a film opening. So during the process of filming, there was a lot of attention which was needed to be paid to. Of course, the most important was the 3 stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. We all played a big role in this, but so we started off with pre-production first. This was required to do. We needed to plan, we needed to research our target audience, how we can use our actors to play what role, what kind of storylines we can put in. All of this was paid attention to. So the first stage of what we did was pre-production, and within pre-production we had to create a script, plan our location, create a shot list, do a casting video as to who would fit into our video and act as well. We had to do a storyboard. All of this was paid attention to, and all these tasks were carried out as a group. If not, members of the groups that were doing this task. Again, people who never came may have had a reason as to why. But again, as I've said in a previous video, we all communicated through phone messaging, and we did compromise in whatever ideas which needed to be incorporated. As we were planning and researching, we paid a lot of attention to script, storyboard, casting video, and we also did a test shoot. Within the test shoot, we just got a few of our group members to just play a short role of as to how our film opening may look like. Again, we did this in our school playground with the benches and everything, and it was all done in immediate action. And I believe what we produced during the test shoot did kind of come out good. And of course, this was a test shoot, and of course it didn't look professional, but we just wanted an idea on how it was to look if it was to go with this particular storyline. And I feel it did go good. It did go well in terms of acting, the story, cinematography, the shots he had executed during the test shoot. Of course, we did develop our cinematography skills when it came to the production stage. We also did a task called Recce. Again, this was a location hunt, a research. We went across the UK, especially central London, if I was to be particular. We decided from the start that we wanted to go with central London. We didn't want to go around other places, other local places around London. because we had come up with a decision which was as a group decided, and we all felt that this was the perfect location for our movie, and it would look right in every different ways and aspects. And so we did do a recce which was carried out. Again, a group member went there, Central London. Out of the 4, only 3 came. This was because one of our members couldn't make it, because one of the members had a school and of course couldn't make it, but she did request if she could come, but of course she couldn't make it, so therefore we had to go as a 3, me, Dawood and Vinay. So us 3 went. We took our cameras and we just shot Dawood, who vlogged this task recce, and Vinay had his camera to take pictures, and just a brief a video, a test shoot at Central London as to how it may look like. Whilst we went there, we didn't really go around London, but just before we did do this task, we looked up on Google Maps, Street View, as to where, because we wanted to include, because we knew as a group that we wanted to include the tourist attractions, which were London Eye, Big Ben, Tower Bridge. So we just used these 3 tourist attractions to navigate ourselves around the surroundings of that area, and just use that area within those particular tourist attractions as and then when we went to the location, we did find the right locations. We planned it, we stayed there for, we went in the morning, we came back in the evening around 4 or 5. This was a very effective task, again, which we used very well to coordinate ourselves in terms of what locations we were going to use and during what time of day, because Central London is a very busy place, whether it's a weekend or a weekday, but it is very busy in particular weekends. Also in the weekdays, especially at lunch, as office workers, they come out and have lunch outside. So we did have a look at the timings as to when it wasn't busy. We found out that it was busy most during 12:30 to 2, as this is the peak of lunch hours, and during the morning it is not much traffic in terms of people walking around the streets. So we did feel that we would have to manage our time very precisely, because again, if we bump into traffic in the middle of shooting, then it would ruin the continuity flow, the continuity editing flow. So therefore, and we had to get back before the sun sets, so that our lighting doesn't get affected in any way. All this was taken into consideration. All the planning and research was done. We researched many different movies individually and as a group. We also analysed movies as to how they've used costumes, props, sound to portray their chosen genre, and how they have incorporated their storyline within the film opening. I analysed 3 movies. One was of a horror movie, which was a task which had to be done. So I had to choose. I chose horror. I analysed the horror, and this was done in a Word document. And after this task, we were given that we had to analyse two films of their film opening. So I analysed The Matrix and Captain America, the first one. I analysed both of these film openings, focused on many different aspects: sound, lighting, editing, costumes, props, setting, location, the camera work, which was all of the acting. All of this was put into consideration, and during the pre-production stage, we had to make a script, and therefore we had to choose whoever was gonna be the main actor had to do the voiceover. So after the casting video was done, the actors were selected, and I was given the role of the main actor, the protagonist. So therefore I had to obviously produce a voiceover of the movie. This was done through a professional system, a mic system. Our editor used Logic Pro X to edit the sound, as well as create the background music. All of this was done, and as we were doing it, I also researched on I looked up on YouTube different videos, voiceover videos. I particularly did this because a voiceover is done and is heard through a non-diegetic way, meaning it's not heard on set. So therefore, it is really hard to give out a strong voiceover, meaning in terms of expressions and the suspense which may require, which our voiceover did. So I looked up different voiceovers on how the voiceover role is being played, and how they've used their body language and their determination and their expressions and their high and low tone to give out a particular sentence. And I needed to do that. So first, when I did it, I wasn't really happy with my first attempt, as I sounded very low and wasn't really giving out a message, and the tone of my voice was very low, and I feel it wasn't expressed, the actions wasn't expressed much. So I had to do a research on how to produce a bit of voiceover and how it could help me and the film to be as professional as possible. So after doing this, I looked up videos on YouTube and did find out on how the people who do the voiceover portray their expression and body language to make their voiceover more realistic and match the actors' expression on set and during the scenes. So I think the pre-production stage went very well, and as we were finalising, touching all the work up, we were tweaking bits here and there. We felt that we needed to get production going as soon as possible. I mean, this was a very big task which was going to be taken up, as we had to go central London, and we knew from the start that not everything would be done in one day, and if it was to be done in one day, then group members would have to be committed on a particular day where everyone was free. So we knew that this wasn't going to be possible, was going to be very likely, although we did try. But the production stage, we knew that we had to do this as soon as possible, and we had to get the pre-production stage done very quickly, so that we get more time during production and the post-production stages. So I believe that the pre-production stage went very well. We focused on many different aspects which were required. We went out on a location hunt, which is called recce. All our group members pitched in ideas. Although everything was done individually as well as group, but we all did everything as a group. We gave ideas to each team member, saying maybe that you can do this better and you can improve this by doing this. We helped each other around. We never left anyone alone. We all compromised, and if there was anything wrong, then we got together, and at a stage we all apologized to everyone, saying that if we have done anything wrong, or if you felt left out, then we're sorry. But from now on, we believe that we should do everything as a group, because a production stage is coming up, and we are going to need to be together in this, and we are going to need ideas as a group, and whatever has to be done as a group. So I felt the pre-production stage went very well, and it was time for us to move on to the production stage. So the softwares that I used was iMovie for video editing. I used this to analyze my two film opening ideas. I analyzed The Matrix and Captain Avenger. I used iMovie to put all my footage together, including examples in between as I spoke, connoting what I meant, representing different screenshots and different short videos from the movie as to what I meant as I was explaining, so that the audience doesn't get lost into what I was saying, and the audience doesn't feel that they're watching one thing throughout the whole analysis. So I used iMovie as I had experience on this, and I just wanted to continue and develop my ideas within iMovie, my knowledge within iMovie, and I did this through the use of analyzing the two films. So I got footages from the film and placed it wherever I mentioned a particular point, and I found this very effective, because I started to feel that my knowledge was getting better. I started to improve my iMovie skills. So therefore, I think that the use of iMovie has improved my skills further on, and I believe I could improve it even more. So before I move on to the production stage, I missed out that for pre-production we produced target audience research. We also analyzed different preliminary tasks, different student opening analysis of film openings of action in particular, as this was our chosen genre. So we analyzed different students from through YouTube on how they have done their storyline, what they've used. So we did this, and we took the positives from that and looked on the negatives of their film opening, and see that how we don't make that mistake of what they did into our film opening. So this was when we did create the target audience research, we interviewed many different students within our school, aged from 15 to 25. We all got their view on what they want to see, what they would require to see in an action film opening. So from our target audience research, we put all their views and thoughts. We took into consideration on how we can portray their views and thoughts to adapt their opinions of what is required in a film opening, as well as our own, to create and produce a professional film opening. So this was what I wanted to say about what I missed out during the pre-production. So moving on to production stages, we did this as soon as possible. I believe that during one stage I wasn't available as an actor, as I had a family event going on. So this caused a bit of a chaos within a group, and it was a Sunday, and we were all determined that we would wake up early morning, go to central London and film the whole day and finish everything off from start to beginning, get all the footages, so that the continuing editing goes right, the lighting stays the same, and everything would be done in the same day, because everyone was free on the same day. But however, something came up with me as I had a family event and I couldn't make it. So on the spot, it was planned, and our leader, Vinay, he wanted to get this done, so he opted for another character, and he had to go with another character. I mean, he did try to tell me if I really needed to go to a family event, was I really needed. So I said to him that I'm sorry, I couldn't. All of this came up all of a sudden, and I can't make it anymore. So he's like, okay, that's fine, no worries. He then picked up another actor, and he went with him, and he did my role. So after that Sunday was gone, the following week I went into school. We looked at all the footages. He put it all together, edited it up. However, the final outcome was not really good in terms of the acting. We were given feedback that the acting is not very natural, and the shots and it's not very good, and this could be improved dramatically. And when we went to reshoot with that chosen actor who had replaced me, he said that he now can't make it. So again, this caused another same problem as to what it did to me, and we had to decide on the spot what we had to do. I mean, we had to choose someone, so we had to go with the first option, which was me. So I volunteered, and I said to the leader Vinay that yeah, I'm up for it, and I'll do my best to produce a good acting and as well as a good professional opening. So that's what we did. We went on the day. I think it was a school day. We went. It was around 10:11. We went and we did all the shots from scratch, and I believe that I was told what costumes I was needed and what I would need to have to bring along with me in terms of props and costumes, extra costumes, which I did, and because we wanted to do multiple scenes there with different costumes. So this was again, as I said, done, and we went there. We also recorded all our footage, half of the footage, and I believe that whatever we did on the day was very successful. But during the production stage, there were a lot of times where we had to go back to central London, because whenever we came back home and saw the footage, our director and all the group members said that, oh, look, this particular bit is not fine, maybe you can improve this. So and the changes had to be done because we wanted to make this as professional as possible, and if us being lazy was the problem, then we wasn't gonna let that get in the way. So we had to plan another day. This kept coming up because not everyone, again, as I said, was available on the day whenever we wanted to. There were some days when our director called up saying, are you free on this day? Are you free on a weekday, on a weekend? Of course, not everyone was free on the day he was free on. However, I had told the director, Vinay, that I was free any day. If whenever you tell me, I would be ready and we will go shoot. But obviously you would need other actors and other representatives, so therefore we had to do everything alone, whether I was available or not. Of course I was, but we all had to go alone, so therefore this could not take place. So then a lot of time went in, and we chose this one day that we were going to get everything done. We also took our laptops there to see, to make sure that after we filmed, we check the footages, and if it's right, then we'll come home. If not, then on location, we'll rectify the mistake and improve it. So I mean, during production, this was what was done, and the technology we used during the equipment which was needed was a DSLR camera. In particular, we used a Canon 100D. We also required a few lenses, one that was standard, the 52mm, and we also needed a prime lens, the 50mm. We also used the tripod for stationary shots, as well as panning, and we also used the Steadicam during the fight scenes in particular, as it needed movement to create an atmosphere for the audience to feel that the suspense that it's building during the fight scene. And that's really it. And we needed backup batteries. We had a few memory cards just in case the memory got full, so that we can replace other batteries or memory cards. And we all went with our props. We all went ready. We didn't make a mistake, meaning we didn't forget any equipment, or we didn't feel that this was needed during this, so everything was on point. And we believe the production stage went very well, and I think we did get everything done very quickly. Well, we did try to. Of course, there was 1 or 2 days which I couldn't come up, and then the other actor which was elected, he couldn't come, so then there was that 2-3 weeks which were totally completely wasted. However, we did pick ourselves up from there and made our improvements individually dramatically, and we did feel that this was needed, as we were committed as a group, and all of us were compromising with each other, and we didn't let this affect our chemistry on location, and we feel that whatever we did during the production stage was absolutely fine and absolutely correct, and we feel that every single person has played a correct role and has contributed in their own individual ways. So this was the production stage, and all I can say about this is that the on-location recording went very well, and the weather didn't really interfere with us. The only day it did interfere was on the day when we decided to go, but we quickly then backed up before we reached our location, because we looked at the weather and we checked it was raining, and we couldn't go because when we did our first half shot, we did it on a dry day. It was not very sunny. It was kind of it was a dull day, but I mean it did fit in with our storyline. So then, to keep this going, we needed to have the continuity editing going to give a natural flow. So we couldn't go on any days when it was raining. So, but then again, the rain didn't come in the way with us, because during the production stage, not much rain was visible. Only the one day, but we didn't go. We backed ourselves up, and we found other days to continue our filming, and everything went well, and all the locations were absolutely fine, and we all, I feel, did very well in terms of the production stage. And now we knew that, and we all sat down and looked back at the footages and decided that whether we were ready to move on to post-production or whether we needed to change anything. So after looking at the footages, we all felt that, okay, fine, we've got all the footages, we've followed our storyboard as well as a script, and now we as a group believe that we should move on to pre-production, as this again is same as production. It's going to have a lot of changes, a lot of developments are going to be needed. So we felt that yes, we were ready to move on to pre-production and get on with the editing and putting our piece together and producing a professional film opening. So during the post-production stage, I forgot to expand on what we did within it. During editing, we focused on many different aspects, but I would like to talk about the color grading. This did make our movie more professional. We used color grading, color correction to give a different tone, a color, instead of using the natural color which is given outputted from the camera itself direct. So as we got our sequences, footages together, we put it on editing software. Our editor put it on editing software, After Effects. He edited it up, he put it all together, and he used and he graded the color, he corrected the color. He played around with the colors to see which one matches it, and from our research which he did previously, he found out that a blue or more teal type color is used to signify an action movie. So he experimented with different blues and different teals, with a light teal, light blue, light darker, to see which one fits well within our movie. Once he finalized with whatever color he wanted, he finalized the whole movie, color graded and everything. He also paid attention to skin color of the actors, meaning whilst he was color grading, the skin color was also going a bit bluey, which of course wasn't the natural skin color. So then therefore he had to select the skin color which was showing of the actors, whereas in this case the protagonist, he rolled up his sleeves so his arms and face was visible, and for the antagonist was just the face and hands. So therefore he had to mask each layer, meaning wherever the skin was visible, he had to mask up the face, mask up the hands, and give it the natural color, leaving everything else blue, the tealy type color, which from our research found out that it signifies, connotes, represents an action movie. So that was one aspect as to where we made our opening professional. And another thing which we did through editing was towards the end, as the protagonist goes up the stairs into the tunnel, a CCTV point of view camera is shown. This was again done through editing. We all pitched in our ideas on how we can do this. We did research from internet on how we can do this, and we did this, and once we did this, it made it more realistic, and we used this to signify that further on in the movie, the CIA and the military look back at camera footages, CCTV footages, as to where and what area the protagonist has been through, so that it is easier for them to find. So we did kind of foreshadow our movie as to what will happen further on in the movie, although it may have been hard for the audience to pick out. But those are the reasons as to why we did these particular things. And as well as talk about the background music we made. We wanted to make it dramatic, but as the voiceover takes place, the music is not all that dramatic. It's kind of a peaceful music which which flows with the voiceover and gets the audience going. As the voiceover finishes towards the end, as he finishes the last sentence, there's a pause, there's a silent, and as the antagonist look to chase him, the music then all kicks off all of a sudden, releasing the suspense for the audience, and gets the adrenaline running. This is done throughout the whole movie, except towards the end when he walks up the stairs and has a memory lapse due to punches being given, due to the fight that's been taking place. So he starts having problems with his mind and brains and kind of lose control of his body. So we then the music then calms down and it is more of a peaceful type, an emotional type music, background music, as the protagonist is like feeling down and he's now not being able to stand on his feet, and towards the end he's seen falling down, and the CIA agents are walking in confidently, that they know that they've captured the protagonist, which is why we have portrayed that music in many different ways, starting off peacefully and then all the dramatic in the middle, releasing suspense, and then towards the end a bit of emotional of so that the audience can feel our protagonist, of what our protagonist feels as well. So that was why we did this. We also created Foley sound, and now this was created through objects that you would find in the house. We use Foley sound to make natural sounds, meaning as the movie plays on, the footsteps, the punches, all of this we couldn't actually produce a real fight, of course, so therefore we had to use daily life objects which are found in the house, such as books, pillows, or for punches, footsteps. We've used shoes, house slippers, and we also wanted a wind, which as the punch goes, you normally hear a wind as the punch is being thrown. So we wanted to give out that wind, those tiny details we paid attention to. So we did this by getting a tennis racket and just swinging it really hard and fast across the mic, so that the sound can be hearable and it would make it look realistic. So therefore we had to create Foley sound for that, otherwise it would have looked too staged and it wouldn't be realistic as possible. So that's what we done. But overall, through post-production of what I just talked about, it was very difficult, as I was with the director, the team leader Vinay, as I was with him throughout nearly most of the process of filming. I did really pick out that it is really difficult to edit, it's really difficult to color grade, it's really difficult to add in the titles and making sure that every single title is has a consistency of however many seconds the gap there is between each. Even making the sound is also hard, because it needs to be in sync with the action that's being taking place, as well as the voiceover has to flow, and as well as just producing the music from scratch itself is hard, because producing music from scratch is very difficult, as you don't know what to create. But once you do get going, you find the momentum, and it starts getting to you that, okay, maybe I can add this, and you start feeling that, oh yes, I'm gonna get a good music. But then you also have a problem that adding more stuff would mean that you wouldn't be able to decide that whether this sounds right or this sounds right, because you have so many layers on top of each other, different instruments. So you would think that, oh, this does sound good, but then when you add this, you'd be like, oh, that sounds even better. But then you would be like, oh, but then I like the other one. So I mean, that was a decision which we had to make, and we had to keep our music not overly exposed, meaning not too. We didn't want to make it too like dramatic or anything, because it would just not fit in. It wouldn't just look realistic. So we wanted to keep it like effective in a small way. So those were the difficulties that we had come up with individually as well as a group. So that what I just talked about was a bit I missed out during production stage. So that's what I added in, the difficulties. So that's what really was that we found difficult throughout production stage. After everything was done, we finalized our work, and we had to publish it and show it to everyone. we were told that we had to put it on Blogger as well as YouTube. So publishing our work was done through the internet via Blogger and YouTube. On YouTube, we uploaded videos of our rough cut, of our vlogs we made when we went to the recce to location to find out, to research about location. We included different rough cuts, different versions of the color graded ones, the natural color, a lighter color graded one, and our finalized color graded one without a widescreen bars, one with our preliminary task, all the analysis that we done with our group members or individually, or all of the pitches that we have did, or all of this we uploaded onto our YouTube page. We also uploaded our production ident, which is seen after our distribution company. All of this was uploaded on YouTube, and on Blogger all of our written document works or the creative formats we did, all of that was uploaded on Blogger, with our group members tagging different labels such as research, planning, evaluation, tagging our names, who did what, and as well as being managing our time effectively as well, as best as possible, because I mean it wouldn't look right doing work all at once. So we did have to manage our time effectively. Again, this was hard because not everyone had the time to do it, but we all were on the phone, we were all on the case for each other, saying, look, you have to get this done, otherwise it wouldn't look right, because half the members have done it on this day, and then if other members do it like probably a month later, it would look right. So we were all on our cases that, look, get the work done. I mean, not everyone was able to do it, but as a group, as an individual group member, we did our jobs as to what we had to within the group. So I feel that this is how we published our work on internet, online, and everything is being shown. Whatever work we do, whether it's external research, everything, evaluation, all this is going to be shown, and is shown on through Blogger and YouTube. So those are the two ways we published our work and showed it, which was via YouTube and Blogger.